Hey guys, it's Beth, and today I'm back with a little project using my school pad by CraftSmith that I am currently working on killing off. And what I have today are just these simple little pencil packs. And there are variations of these all over Pinterest and YouTube, but I will share with you how I do mine. I actually got my original template off of Pinterest, and so I will share that link with you, but then I have tweaked those original designs and measurements to make one that fits my bags and my pencils. So I will also share my measurements, dimensions below in the description as well. I figured these pencil packs are a good quick little project for this pad. I'd been trying to come up with some other smaller projects other than the scrapbooks, and then I happened to notice that when I was starting to cut down papers for the scrapbooks, there was one that has pencils on it, and I'm like, duh, pencils, pencil holders. I do these for our craft show, and so I thought that would be a cute item to do, and it could be a cute gift, either like a back to school gift for a student, or you could even use it for a teacher, either back to school or a thank you, because I know Teacher Appreciation Week is coming up here in May at our school, so you could tweak this and make it for a cute teacher appreciation gift as well. When I do my pencil packs, I normally do, and I apologize for any glare from the packaging, but I either will do 4 pencils together or 3 pencils and an eraser. That way, they're all priced the same and they all have generally the same volume or value. There, this one again just has 4 different pencils in it. Now, in this case, with the breast cancer ones, these pencils were a little more expensive, as were the superhero ones. And so I only did 3 in those packs. But for the holiday pencils and the other ones that you can get at the Dollar Tree, I have the holiday themed erasers that match the pencils, and so I went ahead and just did the 3 pencils and the eraser. For the school packs, I did not have any erasers that matched the paper. Especially, I started out with this arrow paper because I didn't have any of the other really good school patterns left in long enough sizes for me to be able to use for the back. And so I kind of went through my pencils and kind of stretched to find some that matched the paper, and I didn't have any erasers, but I did have some pencil sharpeners left in my stash from when we did our Operation Shoebox, Child Shoebox at Christmas. And so I decided to go ahead and use those. And then I decided to switch papers. I had this black and white number paper, and I thought, and then I had found these very kind of bright primary colored pencils in my stash, and so I thought that the black and white would look good with the colors, and it would help the colors of the pencils pop out. So that's the one we're going to be making today. So to start, I have already cut a strip of cardstock to use as the base of my holder. And depending on the weight of your pattern paper, this is fairly strong, but I'm just not sure it's strong enough to hold its shape, for the pencil holder. So I just wanted it to have a little bit more weight. And the only black cardstock I had in my stash is actually fairly thin. And so together, these two are the perfect weight. So if your pattern paper is thicker, then by all means you could use just the pattern paper. And if your pattern paper is thicker and double-sided, then that's even better, because you can see these cases, these were double-sided, and not only do you get the pattern here with a different pattern from the other side that's folded up down here at the bottom, but then you already have a pattern on the back side too. So pattern paper works great. In this case, it wasn't double-sided because I actually printed this out, and I added paper on the front and the back here. So it's up to you on how you want to decorate yours. I decided on this one I wanted to leave it just black so that my pencil colors kind of stood out. So anyway, I have my strip here for the base of my holder, and it is cut at 1 7/8 inches wide by 12 inches long. And the one thing I had to tweak on the original, I guess, template or instruction set that I found for this pencil holder, I had to make it narrower in order to fit into the bags that I had on hand. So 1 7/8 was that magic width. And hers was actually shorter as well. Hers only came up, you can see how hers only came up to like the metal part of the pencil, and I prefer mine to come up, most of the way to the top of the pencil. So those were the changes I made to her original design. So once you have your strip cut for your holder, you need to score. So you need to score at 4 inches and then 4 3/8. And that will make the little lip at the bottom, or the little shelf on the bottom, for your pencils to sit on. And so I'm going to go ahead and use my bone folder to fold those. Okay. So now that you have the base cut, if you are just using your pattern paper, you are good to go you can skip the next step. But because I am adding pattern paper to mine, I need to cut down my pattern paper. So I want my pattern paper to be 1/8 of an inch smaller than the sections on my holder. So I'm going to cut my pattern paper down to 1 3/4 inches wide. And then this front section, I believe, is 4 inches, so I would need 3 7/8. And then the back section, I believe, is just over 7 1/2. Let's check. Yeah, so 7 1/2 is what I need to cut this next one to. And so then you can see that this is what you have left. So if you're looking to kill off a pad, you could get 6 pencil holders out of one sheet of 12 by 12 pattern paper. And then, if you're using the paper to layer on cardstock, this is what you would have left from each strip. So this would be a good stash buster as well. So the next, I want to go ahead and round the corners at the top of my holder. I'm not going to do it here because sometimes when I round the corners here, like on this front flap, then it leaves me less room for adhesive. So I tend to just do the top, but then I also want to do my pattern paper. And this quarter rounder is just a very old Creative Memories quarter rounder that I have loved, and have not found another one that I love quite as much. So now that we have our pieces cut, we can go ahead and adhere them, and I am using Scortape. You could use wet glue if you want. If you've watched me for a while, you know I just don't have the patience for wet glue. So Scortape is my best friend. And I actually got this Scortape from scrapbook.com. Towards the end of, or sometime in March, they had a really good sale on all sizes of their Scortape. And you could buy them in like 6-roll bundles, which made them just over $2 per roll, which was very, very good. I normally would get mine off of Amazon. Like I would do the price watch and wait for their rolls to like hit a certain level and then would buy them. But at over $2 a roll, when you break it down to the cost per inch, it was still way less than what I'd paid on Amazon. So I tried to stock up from scrapbook.com, and they have all sizes. I got this size, which is just shy of 1/4 of an inch. I got 1/8 of an inch, and I think I got 2 inch. But they have up to, I think they had maybe even 4 and 6 inch now. So I'm going to burnish these down. And luckily I don't have to worry. These all go all directions, so I'm not overly worried about the direction my pattern paper is going. If you have a print that is directional, then that is something you'll need to pay attention to when you're putting it on. Go ahead and do the back. Back to the adhesive real quick. You know, like I said, you could use wet glue. Especially if you are not using a packaging, I would not recommend using just your tape runner on these. You want to make sure that whatever glue you're using, it is strong enough to withstand being handled quite a bit. Okay, now that I have my patterned paper on, I'm going to cut the hole for my pencils to slide through. So I am currently using an oval die in my Sizzix. If you do not have an oval die or an oval punch would work great too. You can use a circle. So I don't know if you can tell on this one, I just used a circle punch. And I'm not going to give you a specific size. This one I used was 1 inch, but whatever writing utensil you're putting in these, you want to lay them out and measure the width. And then that's the size punch, either circle or oval, that you would need. Then you also want to keep in mind you need to leave some space on either side, just so that, you know, it's going to hold its structural integrity when the pencils are in and when it's kind of popped up. You don't want to go all the way over to the side either. So just kind of base the punch or the die you use off of the width of your packet, the width of your holder, and the width of your writing utensils. Like I said, I am going to use my Sizzix, and then the die I'm using it's from Nellie's Multi-Frames. And I got this off of Amazon, very inexpensive. It did come from China, so you did have to wait for it a little bit, but they have been very good. Like, they're good quality. I have not had any issues cutting with them. So I will try and link that down below in the description as well. But the reason I wait until I get my pattern paper on to my holder before I cut or punch is that way I'm not trying to line up the punch area, like the opening, as well as all the edges. It's just easier to do them together. And I didn't bring any washi tape over here, so I'm going to try and make this stay on its own. It usually does. And now it's going to be, because I'm on camera, it's going to be finicky, so I apologize. You want to come down at least 1/8, if not 1/4 of an inch from the top when you make your hole, because you want to leave room for adhesive to go at the very top of this front portion. And then I'm going to, I usually, out of habit, roll it through once and then just roll it back. It doesn't matter what die I'm using, I tend to always do that. But like I said, this little die punched it just fine, a nice clean hole. And now that's our holder. So now we are ready to put some adhesive up here at the top. And I'm not sure if my 1/4 inch will fit. It will, just barely. Good. So I'm going to put that across the top, because we just want something that will hold it down in place on the holder. Oh, and I just realized somehow I got off on my measurements on that back panel. It's a little long. There we go. So you want to make sure that you line up your bottom so that the the box part of it is flat, will sit flat. And then you also want to line up your edges so that they are even. And there you go. Now you have the hole. And these are the pencils I chose, like some more bright, bold colors. And these are just various ones that I've picked up at Dollar Tree over the years. And I wanted to see, I've done 3 with the sharpener. I wanted to see if 4 would fit in here, and they do. Awesome. So I may do the 4. But I also wanted to show you that if you were doing this for a teacher's gift and you wanted to put a different type of writing utensil in, you could easily do that. Like these are the Pentel RSVP pens, and it looks like you could fit maybe 3 of those in here with the size hole I have, yep. So you could do the pens, and you can adapt the height that you want your backing to be based on the utensil. I didn't have any thinner Sharpies, but you could fit like a couple Sharpies in here as well. You could do mechanical pencils, or these are the Papermate Flare pens, which I love, and I believe they are a favorite of teachers nowadays. And 3 of those fit in there as well. So I think this may be something that I do for, I know one of my oldest daughter, her teacher loves the Papermate Flares. So I may try and find some more of those and give her one of these as part of Teacher Appreciation Week. But for now, for this one, I am going to stick with my pencils. I don't want my glitter ones to be right next to each other. And now I'm just being finicky about how I want them lined up color-wise. But I think that's good. Now if you had pencils that had writing on them, like in this case, I don't know how well you can see, but there's writing on the 2 outside pencils. One says write on, the other one says be awesome. And so if you have pencils that you want to make sure that the writing stays face up without them rolling around, you could put some ATG or whatever tape runner, or you want a strong glue but not a not tear tape strong, because you want them to be able to pull the pencils out without it ripping the paper off with the pencils or tearing up the pencils, but you want it to be strong enough temporarily that it will at least hold them in place for you so that they're not rolling around. So, but mine are good. Mine, since none of these have writing, I am okay. Now I have a bag here. It is a Wilton pretzel bag, so it's meant for the pretzel rods that people decorate at the holidays. It is 2 1/4 inches, I think, by 9 3/4. And I originally found mine at Michael's. When I went online, they were not available online. And so I found a couple different places, one of which is Amazon that has them. They're a little pricier at Amazon, but you could put them on the price watch and wait for price to come down if you're a diehard Amazon shopper. Or I found a couple other places. One of them was Walmart, and then an office supply place that you could get them cheaper as well. So that is the base of my pencil pack. Now I want to add a topper. You don't have to add the topper. If I didn't already say that, it's total personal preference. If you're not using a bag, you could simply wrap this with ribbon or pretty string. And even if you are using a bag, you could just fold the bag over and adhere it and wrap it. I have just found that the ones with toppers tend to sell better for me, and I don't know if it's just that they look more finished or put together, but I tend to put a topper, and it doesn't have to be an elaborate topper. And in fact, you probably don't want to make it too elaborate, because if you're trying to sell these, they're most likely not a high dollar item in your craft show, and so you don't want to pour too much time and expense into decorating them, because you're not going to get that back out of them. So I like to do the toppers, but I tend to keep them fairly simple. Okay, so my bag is 2 1/4 inches wide, and so I want to make sure that my topper strip is going to be just a little bit bigger than 2 1/4. And this was just a strip I had left. I think this is like 2 inches. Yeah. So my little piece here is 2 by 2 1/4 inches. And then because I rounded the top of my holder, I want to round my bag topper piece as well. And if you don't want to round, you can use your decorative scissors. Like here, I've done like the pinking edge. On this one, I've done a scalloped edge. So the decorative scissors look pretty here as well. But I'm going to fold my topper piece in half, like the shortest widthwise. And there you go. So now you have this strip here at the top, and so I want to fold it over enough so that there's not bag hanging down out of the bottom of my topper, but wide enough so that I can staple. And sometimes that's a process for me. Here we go. If you don't want to staple yours, if you don't want to see the staples, you could glue this as well. I just tend to like the staples. It's quicker and simpler. If you do staple but you don't want to see the staples, you could totally cover the front of this with washi tape or another piece of paper or like a decorative paper bow of some sorts. I'm not exactly sure how I want to decorate this one. This one I used the pattern paper, and so I didn't feel like it needed much of a decoration. But because I used the black, like I could either maybe use the oval piece that I dyed here and then maybe put a button or a colorful brad that coordinates with my pencils. I didn't have any stickers that I thought went well with this, but you can see here I had fussy cut out a saying from my superhero paper that says BAM, and then just fussy cut it out and glued it on. And then here I also used the punch from when I cut the hole down here. So again, totally up to you. There's no right or wrong. It's whatever you have and whatever you feel is best. But I hope you guys give this a try. If you liked this idea, please like the video, give it a thumbs up, or share if you know of anybody else that could use this. This definitely helps my channel continue to grow. And let me know if you feel like you would use this either for your craft show or for teacher gifts or gifts for kids. Because like I showed you before, I've done them just in general kids themes. I've done them in holidays. Here's an Easter one. So these pencil packs really are very versatile depending on how you want to use them. But that's it for today, guys. If you haven't subscribed already, please do so, because I have more ideas on how to use up this pad as well as all of the other pads that are in my stash, and I'd like to share that with you to continue to give you guys inspiration and ideas to use up your stash. But I thank you so much for your time today, and I hope you have a crafty rest of your week.